I'm an addict and my name is George. Hello, family. I think first and foremost I need to give thanks to the God of my understanding for another day clean in the program of Narcotics Anonymous. And also, I need to give thanks to I think it's the programming committee that asked me to come and share at this convention. And I remember, also I want to give thanks to the two members that rode up here to support me in my sharing tonight. And notice I said members, you know. When Dan called me and he asked me would I come and share here, I told him I don't have a tape. You know, I don't think I've ever spoke at a convention as a speaker. And he said, I didn't ask you if you had a tape. He said, I asked you, would you speak? And of course I said yes. I don't know if, I guess it's the right thing to do. I know our literature says sanity is not acting on impulse. But for some reason, I acted on impulse. I just said yes. And I'm real grateful that I attended that workshop today on the, I think it was a triangle of self-obsession or something like that. And I heard the speaker say, I could identify with what the speaker said, the disease, for some reason, I kind of had feelings, man, I didn't want to do this, man, is because where I'm at in my recovery and in my life. But I know that's the disease, see? And I know, like it was shared here, and you hear it a lot in our meetings, they say that the newcomer is the most important person at any meeting, but they always leave something else. They always leave something out. The newcomer is the most important person at any meeting, but we can only keep this by giving it away. See? We forget that part, man. In order for us to keep this, man, we got to give it away. Anyways, listen to a speaker tape. And I was listening to the speaker in that workshop, and I wholeheartedly believe that God is in full control of everything in life, man. And one thing I like about the God that of my understanding today is he's a real humorous God. See, the God of my understanding is real humorous, especially because he knows, man, that I'm a knucklehead and I'm a fool. And just because I've been clean for a while and got some recovery, I'm still a knucklehead and I'm still a fool. And I'm all right with that. Anyway, I want to read something from our literature. You know, thank God for our literature. Thank God for sponsorship in Narcotics Anonymous. And the man that works with me, one thing that I liked about him, man, is he gave me a worksheet, and on that worksheet, it has for me to watch at least 3 movies or 4 movies, comedy movies, a week. See? I got to watch some comedy, man, because we got to learn how to laugh. See? And today I can laugh, even if the humor's sick. I need some type of laughter. Because if not, man, that morbidly serious stuff will kill. It'll kill us, man. So you got to have some laughter, man. Anyways, I want to read something from our basic text, because and I was sitting talking with one of our members in the dining room, and we started discussing. Matter of fact, we were talking about there was this one saying some addict used to say in our room, that God don't cross the threshold of responsibility, man, and I don't know what that means. But all I know in our literature, it says, man, God does for us what we can't do for ourselves. You know, and I don't try to internalize that, man. It's real simple, man. And I just leave that alone. See, I leave it alone, man. I just know, man, that there's some stuff that has happened in my life. Especially, I know one thing that has happened, man, and that is our promise and our freedom, man, and that I have lost the desire to use. Not only that, I have lost the obsession. And this is through whichever highway you want to put it first, man. God, the programmer, God. Either way, I have lost that, man. Anyways, I want to read something out of the It Works How and Why book, because I'm guided through the literature. And this is in the 12th step on page 119 of It Works How and Why. It says, developing a personal style for carrying a message rests on a simple requirement: we must be ourselves. We each have a special, one-of-a-kind personality that is sure to be an attraction to many. Some of us have a sparkling sense of humor which may reach someone in despair. Some of us are especially warm and compassionate, also to reach the addict who has rarely been the recipient of kindness. Some of us have a remarkable talent for telling the truth in no uncertain terms to any addict, literally dying to hear it. Some of us are valuable assets on any service committee, while others do better working one-on-one with a suffering addict. And out of our basic text, this is also, it's in the 12th step on page 50. It says, a simple, honest message of recovery rings from addiction rings true. So I guess I want to start out with, I was born and raised in the state of Indiana, in a city called East Chicago, Indiana. But the side of town that I was raised up was called the Harbor. See? And the Harbor was known for being the Harbor. Anyways, in the home that I grew up in, the disease ran wild, man. You know, at that time, of course, I didn't know. All I know, when I was young, growing up, I seen a lot of stuff going on in my home, man. Especially a lot of drinking. I smelled the reefer, you know. I watched my brothers coming out, man, being taken away on stretchers, man, from the ambulances, and I didn't know they was overdosing. See? But all I know is today, man, the disease was running rampant in my home. And of course, man, the first drug that I picked up was the drug alcohol. See? And that's how it got all started. And I know, man, some of us, I hear it said in the room, and I believe I was born with this disease. And maybe that don't matter. See? Because I know today, man, we have to focus on recovery. It's not how we got this disease, it's what we're going to do about it. See? But I didn't know that when I got here. And see, and this is my experience. And I believe I was born an addict. And what ended up happening to me, man, is I started using. Everybody in my family was using. And I thought that was just everybody in the neighborhood was using. See? The only role models I had, to me, because in the type of neighborhood I was raised up in, is and I seen it in my home. You know, and I don't know, in the ghetto, man, or, you know, wherever, they're known as pimps, con men, dope dealers, you know, prostitution. All that stuff, man, was an attraction to me. See, I was attracted to all that. I was attracted to that lifestyle, man. You know, yesterday I'm sitting in a meeting in an institution, man, and you know the literature says more will be revealed, and we're reading Who is an Addict, and it says in there, man, we didn't know something about the indignation or something like that, man, or what disaster was headed, you know, and here I'm thinking, man, I'm looking at this, man, and I'm saying, damn, man, them jails, them institutions, man, those were the disasters, man, that I was headed to, man, to come into a Narcotics Anonymous program. Because there ain't no way in my life that I thought I was going to come to NA. You know, I didn't think I'm going to come here and just become this, you know, really happy and joyous, free person, man. I had no knowledge, no awareness of that, man. I just thought all that what I just described was life. See, I just go to our literature and the literature just hits me in every way, man, where it's somewhere it talks about in there, I think it's in the 12th step where it talks about, or no, it's in the chapter more will be revealed how when we were using and we looked at the people that weren't using, I used to think, man, that they were missing out. You know, really, I thought that the people that didn't get high was missing out, man. I said, damn, man, they're missing out on all of this pain and misery, man. They're missing out on jails, institutions, and death. You know, the fighting in the bars, man, the stick-ups, the robbing, the muggings, all that stuff, man. They're missing out on that. I'm talking about the ones that were going to church and going to the picnics and doing family things and just living life, man, being responsible, productive members of society. And how I used to think of that. But anyways, it's like, man, I went through what I went through, and I remember, and I want to share this because I kind of knew when I was at the end of the road. What made me realize that I was at the end of the road, and where the literature says, man, when we become beaten, we will become willing, man, is one thing I remember about myself, man. I was 30-something years. I think I was 30 years old, 31 years old. I was living with my mother, man. She lived in a senior citizens building, you know, still had us to take care of. I'm talking about sons and daughters still coming, constantly messing with her, man. You know? But the thing that I remember, man, is I started to lose control of my bowel movements. But for some reason, man, every night I came home from using, man, I had went all over myself every night. And she cleaned me up. She was the one cleaning me up. I'm 31 years old and my mother's, man, changing my... And then another thing that hit me is one day she said, George, and I remember, man, and I guess, man, a joke, a reality or sanity hit me because I remember, I know I was loaded and I'm sitting at the kitchen table with my mom and she asked me, man, was I going to beat her up and hit her? And that just messed me up, man, and I love my mother more than anything in this world, man. I love my mother more than anything in this world. And there's no way. I had an older brother, he wrote me a letter, a real intimate letter, man, because he had started recovering. And that's how, I went through some other things, man, but I think that's where the journey started, man. Or I wasn't even aware of it, but it was starting to start. Because I remember shooting dope down in the basement with a couple of other addicts, man, and we were all talking about going to find some recovery. And right now, man, two of them are back out using it. And both of them have had a taste of this program. See? But I remember, man, that's when my journey started, man, and I went to this institution, man. See? Not knowing nothing about Narcotics Anonymous. I just went to this institution, and I heard a guy there say something about NA. I was like, oh, all right, NA. And then I remember he said, well, why don't we have a meeting here in this institution? So we did whatever we were doing, and I guess, man, it wasn't NA that I know what NA is today. See? It wasn't. And then I remember when I got out of this institution, I went to a couple of institutions and I got out, and I went to another NA meeting, and I remember I went to it, and at the time I was going somewhere else, and I remember it, and this is my experience, man, and I don't want to hold back, and I'm definitely not here to offend anybody, man. See, but I was going somewhere else, and I remember, man, that I went to this meeting, man. It was in Calumet City, Illinois. I remember that, and it was held in a courtroom, and there was a bunch of young guys holding it. They looked like they was teenagers, and I just said, man, man, what is, I'm closed-minded, arrogant, which I still get. I still get that way. I'm like, what are these guys going to tell us? Not only that, man, I got 2 years sobriety, man. What they going to tell me? And they talking about cleaning and recovery. And I was like, man, what they going to tell me? So, I left there, of course, man, and, with a closed mind. And to come into this, to Fort Wayne, Indiana. I moved to Fort Wayne, Indiana, and I relapsed, But I had sponsors that had asked me, notice I say sponsors, not a sponsor, sponsors that had asked me if I had drank. And I said, no. They said, well, you still got your sobriety. And I'm in a detox center, detoxing off. I'm detoxing off of morphine and Tylox due to this surgery I had. And I want to say there's a difference in that because I'll get into that with the Narcotics Anonymous program because, when I had this surgery, I wasn't well supported. And I didn't, I told the doctor, man, that, that I was an addict. For some reason, he still didn't, and they still medicated me. And I left there, man, and I left getting loaded. See? Because I remember, man, being in my room, I was on my knees high in the mud off that medication, man, and reading that literature, but I was still using. I went into detox, man, and I met a girl there, and anyways, Narcotics Anonymous, and then all of a sudden, man, I'm getting involved. I'm still riding the fence, man. I'm trying to make this decision, man, and I remember telling them people that I still had my 2 years and blah, blah, and I said, man, they told me, George, man, you relapsed, you better get honest. You know how the addicts are. They started hitting me with it. And 6 months after that, I finally came to the podium and I said, yeah, man, I relapsed, man, and I got this much clean time. And I felt some relief because it was honesty is what it was. It was some freedom from that denial. And I don't think it was denial, just that arrogance and ego, man, not wanting to say that. But anyway, so now I find Narcotics Anonymous, man, and this is a whole different thing, man. See? And you know what? When I started my recovery, man, in Narcotics Anonymous in our area there, we didn't have no basic texts, man. We didn't have no IPs, man. We didn't have none of that literature, man. But I know one thing we had. This is my experience with. We had each other, man. We had each other, man, and we were doing the best thing we can do because I remember going down to, which is today my home group, and I want to say something about my home group. It's not the best home group in the world. I don't know about that stuff. All I know, man, is that it's a Narcotics Anonymous meeting. And the reason I say that is because we follow the 12 steps and 12 traditions of Narcotics Anonymous. Not only that, we pass a basket, and the basket and the money goes to pay for rent, to buy literature supplies, and to support Narcotics Anonymous services. That's what we do. And we don't seem to have any problems, man. The meeting is strong, man. See? I don't know about it being the best. I just know it's an NA meeting, man. And all addicts are welcome. And it's a closed meeting for addicts only. If you ain't an addict, we'll let you know that, and you don't belong there. We ain't scared to tell you, man, hey, we'll ask you straight up, man, you got a problem with drugs? Do you think you have a problem with drugs? If you say yes, you're welcome to stay. But if you don't say nothing like that, we got open meetings you go to. We say it in a real polite manner. But it's an NA meeting for addicts. And you know what? We got the format out of Narcotics Anonymous literature. I believe it's the group booklet. That's how we got our format. That's how we go back. The guy that sponsors me says, George, literature. Everything got to be literature. Nothing outside of literature. We stick directly with. And you know, man, in our area, man, for some reason, man, people have a problem with the addicts, man, carrying their literature. I don't know what's the trip about that, man. See, I listened to stuff, man, and I heard a few comments about me because I'm still real actively involved in my home group and in service, and they say, oh, that George, he's hiding out in N.A. You know, that's what they say. You know, they say, I'm hiding out in Narcotics Anonymous. But you know how I take that, man? That's okay with me, and if I am, I'm all right with it. I'm going to stay hiding out up in here, you hear me? Because I ain't going to hide out in no dope house. I'm not going to hide out in no dope house. And a bar and a liquor store is a dope house. See? I ain't going to hang out in none of them places. I'm staying right in N.A. See, I don't know about that responsible, productive member of society. All I know, man, is I pay taxes, I vote. See? If I got times, I do outings. I don't know what that is, but I know one thing. I prefer the outings in Narcotics Anonymous. I don't even like to get the family get-togethers if they got liquor or reefer going around the family. I don't want to be around that. And just because I'm stable, man, and I know I ain't using. Listen to what I'm saying now, man. And I had shared it with my sponsor. He said, is it okay if I share this? Because I'm telling you, the desire has been taken away. I don't have a desire to get high anymore, man. And I don't know, that ain't cockiness. It ain't nothing like that. All I know is I believe in Narcotics Anonymous, and I believe in God. The God of my understanding, man. And another thing, man, I ain't going to go hang out in them joints. Now, if I go hang out, that don't make me exempt, man. If I'm going to go sit in them bars and in them dope houses, see, because people talk about drugs of choice, man, and I want to share something. What I used a lot is I drank a lot and I popped a lot of pills. I shot heroin a little bit. I know a little bit about it. I did a little bit of cocaine. I did some acid. You know, I used everything, but the literature says we don't care what you use, how much you use, or who your connections were. It's all I know is I qualify for the Narcotics Anonymous program. See, because more will be revealed, and I'm sitting in this meeting yesterday, and I'm thinking, man, how members come up in here, they get a year clean, 6 months. I want to work the steps. I want to work the steps. Man, get me on the steps. Get me on the steps. They don't even know who is an addict, what is the NA program, or why we're here. See? But they want to get into the steps right away. Man, at our home group, man, we start reading from the symbol and we work our way and when we're done with more will be revealed, because we don't get into personal stories, we go back to the symbol. When we read the It Works How and Why, we read it from the beginning of the book. We don't hold nothing back in the group. We don't skip traditions, or we don't skip this page or skip that, but we read from the symbol. See? Because I know, man, our clarity statements at our home group, there's a clarity statement that we read at our home group. See? And we don't use the ones that the convention use. Ours comes straight up out the textbook. And I read it. I read exactly what we read at our home group as a clarity statement. And I got this from another member of mine, a real good friend of mine. He's from, I grew up with him, and I got a lot of love and respect for this brother. He's from Milwaukee, but he said, this is the one we read, and it comes right. I said, what clarity statement is that? He said, it's right in the basic text. You know, it says the 12 steps of Narcotics Anonymous as adapted from AA are the basis of our recovery program. We have only broadened their perspective. We follow the same path with a single exception. Our identifications as addicts is all inclusive with a single exception. Our identifications as addicts is all inclusive with respect to any mood-changing, mind-altering substances. Alcoholism is too limited of a term for us. Our problem is not a specific substance, it's a disease called addiction. We believe that as a fellowship we have been guided by a greater consciousness and are grateful for the direction that has enabled us to build upon a proven program of recovery, man. Our problem is not a specific substance, it's a disease, man, called addiction. Because I know I'm talking to an addict that we grew up together, and then they down in Houston, Texas, and he's telling me, George, there's people up in here, man, they still stuck on the substance, man. And they got 15 years and 17 years. See? Because I don't know about use. I know one thing, man. Today, man, drugs ain't my problem. You know, I hear, well, it's always going to be it'll always be about the drugs if I put it in me. See? I don't put it in me, man. It ain't about the drug, man. It's a disease, man. See? But there's things that we got to do. See? You know? The first step. See? Ours has changed. That's that exception, man. We admit we're powerless over our addiction. But anyways, you know, I'm jumping around here, and this is what I went through. You know, Narcotics Anonymous was real small in Fort Wayne. And, man, all of a sudden, man, some members went out to a convention, man, and they came back with literature. Because we didn't have none. They came back with textbooks, IPs, key tags. We didn't have none of that, man. None of that. Didn't see none of that. All of a sudden, we got textbooks. We got IPs, man. We got, you know. Not only that, I remember when we joined the Indiana region. We wasn't even part of the region. We wasn't even part of the wheat. We were still stuck in the eye, man. You know, and then that's the way we tried to do it too. When the region came and invited us to join the region, it was, yeah, we'll do it. Hey, well, you don't do it that way. You got to go back to your groups and ask your groups if they want to join this. So see, it's like, hey, man, this is a learning process, man. We had to be taught, and that's what we did. See? And you know, I'm real grateful, man, that I've gotten away, man, from the desire to use and a lot of that lifestyle, man. Because, you know, you'll hear the same, man. If the drugs don't kill us, the lifestyle will. See? And that's why, man, I don't hang around them joints and them people, man. It ain't that I'm better than them or this and that, man. That just ain't me no more. It's not me. I ain't better than them, man. You getting high, man. You know, my girlfriend, she's trying to quit smoking cigarettes, but she hangs around with everybody that smokes. You know, she's trying to quit, but then she's putting herself right up in the thick of it, man. See? It don't work like that, man. I try to share with her, man. Sometimes I get too self-righteous, or I don't know what it is. I just get too demanding on her, man. That, you know, I make her uncomfortable and she'll light up a cigarette. See? So, you know, sometimes I'm the one that's got to, you know, I got to leave her alone with that. But hey, man, I'm real grateful, man, to be away from that. I don't care for none of that, man. I got a lot of recovery tapes, man, because, you know, when Dad asked me to speak, man, and usually it don't hit me, but when it started getting close to this, man, I started like, you know, it's like the brother Sheridan there, man. You know, this disease made me feel like, man, you know, where I'm at in my recovery, man, I shouldn't even do this, man. Or where I'm at in my life, man. But I know better than that, man. I know that this is just this disease, man. And since I got here, man, I ain't felt nothing but exactly what the theme of this convention is, man. We grow with love, because that's all I felt since I've been here, is love. Nothing but love. And I ain't talking about sex, man. Because I used to have that stuff all mixed up. See? I had sex mixed up with love, man. But here, man, I felt nothing but love, man. You know, hugs, man. I need to be hugged, man. See, one thing I say, man, you know, and I know the newcomer is the most important person, man, but what I've been thinking over the years and stuff that hits me, and I think my experience with it, man, and this is kind of for the people with some time, man, because for some reason, man, after 7 years, 8, 9 years, we start to lose members, man. And I heard a guy from, I think he was Rhode Island. I heard him use them guys' name, Cisco and Ebron, I think that's their names, man. We got some critics up in here, man. And if you can handle the criticism, you're going to be all right. Because I'm going to tell you what, man, I know one thing, man. I've been criticized a lot, man, but I know it's my fault today that I've been criticized. But it ain't going to run me away, man. Sure, I don't like it. And if I stop doing some of the things that I'm doing, I might not be getting all that criticism. See? I've had people come up to me and say, George, I I just didn't like, they said I didn't past tense like you. Because that happened in the meeting the other night at my home group. Some girls said, man, George, man, I didn't like you, man. But after I got through telling her, man, and sharing with the group, man, how I can become real self-righteous and real arrogant. Because one of my defects, man, is perfection. And if it ain't done to the T, man, I got a problem with it. Especially with our program. Not my program, our program. Because I get real perfect with that, man. I mean, if you ain't following the literature to the T, man, I want to get all up in your face. And not just that, because, you know, I get in those conversations with members, man, where it's like, how our service structure is. Because, man, you know what, I tell you, man, and I read something in there, and I'll be honest, man, I'm better working in a group than one-on-one, because I love service, man, in Narcotics Anonymous. You know, I love our service. See? That's what I want to read this, man, because to me, that's what that pertains to. And what I mean by service, man, I'm talking them addicts, man, that open up a meeting, got a home group, open that meeting up, set chairs up, make some coffee. This is what keeps us clean, man. See? Not only that, in our literature, man, that's why I like Narcotics Anonymous so much, is because it's a healthy environment. Narcotics Anonymous is a healthy environment, man, for spiritual growth. See? And I read this real quick, man, and this is out of the It Works How and Why, and this would hit me sometime. One time I read it and I thought about that, man, where it says here on page 121, it says, helping others is perhaps the highest aspiration of the human heart. And sometimes we have been entrusted as a result of our higher power working in our lives. We would do well to remember and ask the God of our understanding to continue working through us in our efforts to carry the message digitally. Practicing the principles of recovery will ensure that the connection between ourselves and our higher power remains open, and that our service to others is firmly rooted in spirituality, man. And man, you know, I give a lot of praise to God and a lot of praise to our servants, man. I'm talking about the addicts that you know, not just open up the meetings, you know, I mean the sponsorship and all that, but the ones that get the ones that get mocked or get put down, which I know it's not the addicts, it's the disease that's doing it, is them addicts that are sitting in them area services banging their heads so we can keep this thing alive, for them addicts at the regional level so we can keep this thing alive, man. That's the highest aspiration. That's the help, man. The world services, man. I mean, everybody's probably got their opinions on view, but the way I see it, man, that's the way I see it, man. See, that's why I know when we pass a basket at our home group. Now, I didn't learn all I wasn't doing all this before I come to Narcotics Anonymous. See, before I came to NA, it was trying to get over, trying to get even, and trying to get by. Constantly trying to get over, man. You know what tore me up so much more than anything, man, is that terminal hypnosis and that fatally cool, man. And I remember the first time, man, somebody took me by my nose and put it in the basic text and said, look, we are giving into a symptom of our disease, man. And I said, oh, no, not that. Come on now, we can't give that up. No, I can't give that up. Not being terminally hip and fatally cool. See? But that got to go, man. It's got to go. And I'll be honest, I didn't want to give that up, man. I got members still tell me when I want to, hey, George, take that up out your walk, man. Get rid of that, man, you know. You know, it comes out because, see, I was telling members that wrote of me from step 4 through step 7, I come to find out, man, that I'm a human being, man. See? That's what I found out in them steps, man. Is them assets and liabilities, man. See, and perfection is the killer for me. Because, you know, our literature does say we're our worst enemies. We'll beat the heck out of ourselves. See, what I come to learn, man, when I mess up today, man, I ain't got to get high. Not only that, when tragedies happen, because I want to say something, man, and I love my mother, man, like I said, I loved her, man. You know, I loved my mom a whole lot. I loved my brothers and sisters a whole lot. I had the experience of losing my brother first while in recovery. And I didn't have to get high, man. And not only that, man, I didn't have to go permanently insane or end up in the psych ward or something, man. And it's because of this program, and it's because of the God of my understanding, man, that I was able to cope with that, man. As a matter of fact, I remember myself going through when it was happening, man, because this disease is what killed him. And I remember, man, when he was on his deathbed, he was dying, and I remember, man, I was preparing myself, man, for him to go get with God. Because, see, that's how he found his freedom, man. But I didn't have to get all out of whack behind it, man. And I accepted it. And I used to think that members probably thought, damn, George, are you cold or what, this and that. No, it was just that I knew, man. I knew he was with God, man, and he wasn't suffering no more. See, because I remember, man, the last time I seen him, man, he looked up like a shriveled up chicken, man. And my brother at a time was he was a very handsome man. And I seen, man, what this disease did to him. But I didn't have to use. See? Or go permanently insane. Then next, my mom passed away. And I had the same strength through the principles, through God, through this program. I didn't have to use, and I didn't have to go insane. I did my crying, I cried when we put her to rest, man. I cried with, I think, one of my brothers over the phone. Because I'm not a person that cries very much. There's a few times I've cried in my recovery, man. I cried, man, the first time I cried in front of a group of addicts was my brother presenting me, man, with my 10-year medallion. And I broke down in tears in front of the group. See? And I was known, man, hey, man, I'm starting to feel, man. I can feel. Because I know, man, there was a time, man, I was cold as ice, man. I could give a heck less about anything. But today I care. I believe in this program wholeheartedly. I believe in the Narcotics Anonymous program. I believe in the principles. I believe, man, in the service. See? I was telling the members there, man, I said, man, God has a funny way of taking over, man. See? And I love this God that I believe in today, man. And I remember the first time I heard it, it was just a cliche. When I heard it, I went to a convention, and I heard them all yelling out, God is good, all the time, on time. And I just, I like to cop some style. So I started adapting that, man. And, I started to, the more I heard it said, and the more I started feeling it, man, there's some real true meaning to that. See? There's a lot of true meaning to it, man. I know God is good, man. In my recovery, man, I started losing my kidneys are starting to fail, man, and I ended up they put me on dialysis, man. And this is what I went through, man. I look back at it, and all it is, man, I come to see, man, that it's my passion for Narcotics Anonymous. I got a passion for this program. I love NA, man. I love it. And I love the people in NA. See? And I don't know about all that, man. I don't like somebody and this and that. Sometimes I just don't get along with some members, man. But in time, man, in God's time, man, we'll end up hooking up, man. But my kidneys are failing, man, and I'm on, they put me on dialysis, man. They cut my arm up and put an artery and a vein together. They hooked me up to this machine, man, and I'm getting hooked up to this machine, and I still got some of that false pride and stuff and this and that. I wouldn't call addicts, but I'd still go to meetings, man, walking. I'd go walking to meetings, man, carrying literature, man, the literature to the meeting, man, in that condition, man. Having my arm taped up from being dialyzed, man. I'm walking in the snow, man. But you know what? I'm singing. And I'm walking in the snow, man, and I'm thinking, man, I'm going to go open this meeting, though. It's going to be nice, man. And it was. You know, it was nice, man. It's, you know, I just, that's my experience with it, man. I get guys today, you work with them, man, and you show them, you share your experience. Because I don't know, man, I sit in the rooms, man, and I pay attention today, and addicts are always trying to say something clever. You know, they're always trying to say something slick or clever, or they want to play spiritual warfare in the meetings, man. And, you know, I don't know about you, man, but I ain't going to be hiding nothing, man, from our members in Narcotics Anonymous. I don't think I need to keep stuff anonymous to use, man. What I'm doing in service, I'm going to let you know, in a manner where it's what helps me to stay clean, man. It's like this is a teaching program to learn. But somebody will come up in there, man, oh, man, you don't have to let people know what you're doing. Well, I ain't trying to hide. You know, I ain't trying to hide from the members anything from there. That's being greedy and stingy, man. I come to find out this ain't a stingy program. It ain't for no stingy people. Even though we are greedy. See? We get greedy. But damn, man, we should share with them. We should share with them addicts, man. About some H&I, about some PI, about it's the stuff that keeps us clean. You know, those are the things that keep us clean. I know the steps are what changes our attitudes, man, and changes our, how does it say that it just changes our fractured personalities, man. But we don't deny them, man, what we do here, man, what we learn, how we do this. And then when we don't teach them it, we jump on them. See? You don't teach them how it's done, and then the next thing you know what I'm doing. If I ain't teaching them, I'm scolding them. And that makes the newcomers feel uncomfortable, man. See? Because I done played all them trips, man. I done did all them trips in the room, and through all them trips that I went through in the rooms, man, is God has a funny way of letting me humble myself. See? Because I'll always end up humbling myself, you know. And I was the guy who was like, yeah, man, get involved in some service, do some service. I'm talking it, but so-and-so's setting up chairs and so-and-so's making the coffee, but I'm standing there, yeah, man, you better get involved in some service. The same guy standing on the corner talking out the side of my neck. See? But see, that's how that's the way I take this, man. And I know this ain't a service, learning day or anything, but service is a big part of my recovery, man. And it's a real big part. See? Because if you think about it, the steps talk about service. Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we try to carry this message to addicts and to practice these principles in all our affairs, man. That's talking about service, man. See? It's in our symbol. We read in our symbol, man. You know, I mean, I love you addicts, and I love going to workshops and going to conventions because you hear so much profound stuff in those. You know, it's just. Anyways, I was on dialysis, man, for 5 years. I'm scared as all heck because the first time I had some surgery, I relapsed. I told you, they hooked me up. Now I'm in Narcotics Anonymous program. Okay? I'm having surgery done in NA. The basic checks in the chapter more will be revealed. Got some guidelines in there. You know, you read the guidelines. It says get with addicts, get with your sponsor, talk about it. I talked with my doctor. I shared my fears. Now all of a sudden they're going to put this kidney in me. So check this out. They put it there, you know. I put my name on the list. Check it. Now this is a blessing, man. I put my name on the list in August. December of that same year, they got a kidney for me, man. You know? And what I went through, man, is check this out. I'm up in my apartment, you know, and I'm laying up in there, and, you know, you got to ring my phone, and I have to buzz you up to let you up. But I heard someone call my name out, so I thought he was one of our members. He likes to play jokes, you know. He would ring my buzzer and come at every hour of the night, the fellowship. So I thought it was him, and I said, oh, his name Crowbar. I said, oh, there's Crowbar down there messing around. So I'm coming down on the elevator, because you got to take the elevator down. I'm coming down on the elevator, and I stuck my head out, and I seen one of them state trooper caps. It was a policeman. And I jumped back. I got scared. Man. And I started thinking, I said, wait a minute, man. I got scared. I started thinking, did some warrants come up or what, man? I said, wait a minute, man. I do H&I in the county jail, man. They cleared me to go in the county. This is all running through my mind. What could this trooper want? I was kind of scared. I said, well, man, George, go see what he wants. I'm talking to myself and stuff. So I go and the door, and he says, your name George Vasquez? And I said, uh-oh. In my mind, I went, uh-oh, here it comes. So yeah, he said, they got a kidney for you. I said, what? He said, they got a kidney for you. I said, oh, all right. He said, you got to get down to Indianapolis right away. So I went through some trip, man. I don't know. I was scared. And I ran upstairs back in my bed, and I jumped. I don't know why I jumped under my covers. And I put the covers over my head, and I was shaking. I didn't know what was wrong. I just was. And for some reason, I was restored to some sanity. He said, call your brother up. I called my brother up, and I told him what was happening, and he shot me down there. But, they put a kidney in me, man, and they had me hooked up to a bottle of morphine, man. And, man, this is my experience with that, man. I was visited at around the clock by members of Narcotics Anonymous. Indianapolis was there strong. I mean, the fellowship down in Indianapolis, I knew a lot of the members from doing service with them, but they were there, man. Members were coming up there that didn't even know me. They just come up there and say, I heard you're an addict and blah, 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 and they just came to visit me because of other members, man. And it was just, 3 days went by, the doctor come in, he looked at the bottle of morphine, he said, I noticed you ain't touched a drop of that, man. He says, you want me to take it away? I said, man, yeah, take that out of there. And what I come to realize with the support of all them addicts, man, on a regular basis, man, you know what, man, I didn't have time to think about the pain. Because they was there, man, giving me all that love that I didn't even have time to think about the pain. See? And they even brought me meetings because I remember to visit me, you would have to wear a mask. So one day, man, a couple of them I was real close to, they called me up and said, George, we're going to bring a meeting to you tonight. All right. So they all come up in the room. There was about 6 of them. They had their masks on. I'm laying in the bed, and I'm hooked up to all this other stuff, man, and we getting ready to start the meeting, and they all sitting there, and I was sitting there, and I was like, okay, let's have a moment of silence. And I said, wait. Now, I don't know, this to me, I had to do this, because they were all sitting there with masks on. I didn't have one on. I said, will somebody get me a mask? See, so I put on the mask because I didn't feel part of. I'll be honest. Not having that mask, I didn't feel part of the group. So I put the mask on. I said, let's get busy. We said the prayer. We opened up the meeting with the readings. We started, and boom, we got into it. See? But that's how them differences can get in there, man. I like it, the literature where we said we got to focus on the similarities and not the differences, man. Narcotics Anonymous has opened my mind to a lot of stuff in today, man. I just love our program, But anyways, man, I got the transplant, man, and I was out of the hospital 9 days later, My brother came to pick me up, That's him sitting right there in the middle, Jerry V. He came to pick me up, and I don't know if he's seen me, but I had to urinate every 5 minutes, it seemed like. Just had this kidney in, because I had quit urinating completely. And it started back up, and it was like every 5 minutes. But I don't know, man, if he's seen me, but I didn't want him to. I was still trying to hide it because of that pride, man. I was crying, man. I started crying, man. And I don't remember, because I think I remember with my lips trembling, I told him, man, I said, there's so much love in NA, man, it's unbelievable. There's so much love here, it's unbelievable, man. But you know what? We got to give ourselves a chance, man, to see it. We got to give ourselves a chance, man, to see it. And start recovering so that we can see it, man. Because I know I couldn't, man. I was so into me, man, when I got here. Yeah, this is a program of love. Yeah, right. All the gossiping and all the criticism. But that's what I was focusing on. I wasn't focusing on the love. See? But then after that experience, man, I said, man, these people here, man, I mean, Dan, he asked me to come speak, man. He took a chance, man. Because like I said, I didn't have a tape, man. He said, I didn't ask you if you had a tape. And he still took a chance on me to come up here and share it. And he didn't know what I was going to come up here and say. Of course, I didn't either. Because believe me, I sure didn't plan this. See? And it's a privilege to do this, man. But this disease was telling me, man, not where you're at right now, George, but where I'm at is I'm in Narcotics Anonymous, man, and I have to remember that. See? And I go through some phases. I've gone through some of my phases in my recovery, man. And I've gone through them changes, and I got experience with it. I was hiding out from the program, from the fellowship, because you know who knows us best. We do. See? And I know if I hide from yous, you know, that terminal hypnotist and fatally cool wants to come back. And what it was is I was dating 2 or 3 girls outside of the program trying to be slick. See? But you know what? All the time, you knew what was happening with me. All the time, you knew what was going on. And still showing me love. See, all the time. It's been there, man. But it's me if I don't want to let it in. See? I know there's nothing but love here, man. Narcotics Anonymous, there ain't nothing but love. We got a chapter that talks about that, man. You know, and this is a good theme. This convention is always, we do grow with love, man. We do grow with love. I'm real grateful, man, you know, listening to a recovery tape on the way up here. Because I remember, man, when I get ready to speak, there's a ritual I go through, man. I'll start listening to recovery tapes from Detroit, from Chicago, from Philly, from California, blah this and blah that workshop, that's workshop. You know, but the literature says, man, we got to be ourselves. See, I got to watch out not to get up here and try to compete and compare, man, because that ain't what it's about. See, that ain't nothing but this disease, man. See, and I got some awareness of this sickness, man. And man, I mean, before I even came to the podium, we got to talk. I was talking with a couple of members, and we got to talking about that. You know, that what God does for us, what we can't do for ourselves, man. I try not to internalize that, man. I'm just going to let it happen, man. See? I just know, man, some remarkable things have happened in my life. And I believe that because I heard the speaker say, before we can, and I tapped Herb on the shoulder when the addict was speaking in that triangle, and he started talking about God. That's what the speaker is talking about, and that's the way I believe, man. God is in everything, in the whole mix. See, God is in everything, and you know what, man? I ain't the one that's going to try to pick and dissect and all that, man. Look, man, it's happening, and that's good enough for me. I ain't got the man. I'm going to be grateful. See, I'm going to be grateful for what's happening, man. I'm even grateful, man, when I mess up. I'll be honest. I'm grateful. I don't like it. I don't like when I mess up because I don't like the consequences when they come. But see, I'm grateful. See? Because that's where God has that humor. Because I'm going to tell you, man, with my perfection, when that perfection hits me, it's like I just ain't going to mess up. And all of a sudden I'll do something stupid. You know, because there's God, man. The humor is God. Told you, I'm a knucklehead. I'm a knucklehead and I'm a fool. And I'm okay, like I said, I'm okay with it, man. I'll be a knucklehead and a fool sometimes. See? But I know God is good, man. I know God is good all the time, on time. See? I think it's time for me to shut up. Because one of the members said, oh, they're going to let George speak. He's going to take up the whole hour and maybe some more time. You know, and that's funny to me, man. I'm okay with that. Hey, look, there's members at the meeting that do this to me. They do like this in the meeting now, and I'm okay with that. But I see other members when they do it too, man, they fighting after the meeting. But anyways, I'm all right with that. I'm real grateful to be asked to come and speak. And thank you very much. Thank everybody for showing up. And thank you, Dan. That's it. I'm done sharing.